You woke up this morning, you picked your bag, you never knew you were going to walk down that road and never return home. You were going to go on a journey that will take you through life. And when you realize this, you try to run back in, but some unseen forces were holding you back from going into the house. You screamed, but no one can hear you. You shouted, you called for the gods, your fathers, your mothers. None of them would listen to your cry because yes, you. It is your time to go out into the world, to do something great, to write that story, to put it out there in the world. Now, would you take that chance? You ask yourself this question: would I take this chance? And then you trudged on with your bags on your shoulder. You were running, walking, using every strength in you to ensure you achieved this goal. And you kept going at it even when it felt like you were going to fall, when it felt like you were too tired to move a muscle or even move a capillary within your bloody system. But now, you are here watching this video. You haven't hit the subscribe button and you've learned a lot about POVs. In your heart of heart, do you think that is fair? Do you think switching to the next video without hitting the subscribe button is actually fair? Do you think not commenting or engaging with this video is actually fair? You ask yourself, how many seconds would it take me to hit the subscribe button? And you decide to hit it. And then you scream to yourself, yes, I did it. Yes, I did it. And I'm going to tell other people about this awesome channel that actually shares information on book publishing and publishing tips. Point of view. Hello there, welcome to my side of the internet. I'm Kama the Eccentric Diva, and on this channel we talk about book publishing and writing tips and also sex and sex education. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. While you're doing that, there's a button that says share with friends, share with writers and those that actually wish they would actually write a book this year, next year, sometimes or never. So, like I said, and the title says, we are going to be talking about point of view. What is point of view? Point of view is the narrator's position in relation to the story being told. Now, I'm sure as writers you have heard about this, and if you haven't, thank me in the comment section and say, thank you, Kama. Ooh. Point of view is the position in which the narrator is actually telling the story. So for every story, there is a narrator. You are not the one telling the story. You are just the means, the vessel which, is being used to write the story. Like, I'm talking about you as the writer, you as the author. You get me? Yeah. So take this example, for instance. If I want to tell you a story, I would tell you, once upon a time, there was a boy. He lived in this and that and blah, blah. No, I am the storyteller. I am the one telling the boy's story. I am seeing things from how I see them. I would tell you the moral of the story. I would tell you what the boy did. And maybe there are even sometimes I tell you the same story, I'll tell you what the boy was thinking. Now, all this in fiction writing have different, what I call it, categories. Yeah. So the first category we have when writing stories from like different point of view, and this is very important. You get me? Is the first person's POV. Now, the first person's POV is when the narrator is the owner of the story. The narrator is the person that everything is happening to. That's when you use I, me, I, my, like just, first person's pronoun. You see, most books, especially for romance these days, use the first person's POV because you can easily relate to that, because it feels like you are being told the story by the person the thing is happening to. Now, there are disadvantages to using the first person's POV, because when using the first person's POV, it is subjective. You cannot really tell how you feel when writing and it won't come off as whiny. You can mainly express these things by the things you do, by the way you react and all that. That's the whole show don't tell kind of, stuff. Then there's also the part of, mainly have to, you can't say, when you're writing in first person's point of view, you can't say what other people are thinking. You can only say what they might be thinking from their actions and from also the words they say from the dialogues. So when you're writing in first person's POV, you have to be very careful. It's easy. It's one of like the easiest POVs to write. I think that's if you start with it. If not, it's going to be very hard trying to describe what the narrator is doing themselves. So it's pretty easy to write, but it's also hard, because when it comes to you trying to say someone is doing something and whatever, you are, what's the word? You have to show how you interact with other people to show the type of person you are. And I'm not talking about now you see why it's confusing me this time around, because okay, you have to write about that person in first person's POV to show how they are through their interactions with other people. You can't just come out and tell us, oh, this person is a selfish person, or come out and say, I am a selfish person. That's kind of like lazy writing if you do it all through the story. You can only drop hints here and there and make the interactions you have with other people, show that this is the type of person this individual is. So if you're writing about, say, for instance, I'm writing about Lola in my book that is coming out soon, I would say, oh, I'm writing as Lola now. So I'm using first person pronoun, and I'm like, I am going to the sea to, I am going to the sea. Are you kidding me, Kama? I am going out, or I was going out, let me use past tense. I was going out when I met him, and he just hit, and I screamed at him, what the heck is wrong with you? I don't know if I'm making sense with this example, but I'm going to put links in the description box below to some things I've written in the past, or some other articles that would actually express, or stories. Yeah, I'll use stories instead. Books that would express first person POVs better. One example is my book, First Impressions. Now, with First Impressions, that's another level of first person POV. Now, that is multiple POVs in one book. Now, with First Impressions and Crossroads, I wrote 6 different POVs. So you have the POV of that point of view of Raya, Mabel, Tricia, Richard, Debo, and TJ. You have 6 different POVs. It was kind of hard drafting and writing all that, but yeah, it gives you an insight into what each character is thinking and doing, and what they mean, or what they meant when they reacted in some way to another particular character. There are advantages and disadvantages of writing in multiple POVs, but for romance books, it's actually best to just write the two major people's POV, or just the one main character. So when it comes to POVs, the first person story you introduce to the book is actually the main character of the story. So whether you're writing in multiple people's POV, in dual POV, that actually do mean that first person that is coming in, that POV that is coming in, is the most important character that we should be watching out for, because that is the first person you are introducing to us. So we are more alert whenever we read that person's chapter, because that's the first person we got to know from the beginning of the story. I hope I've made sense so far about first person's POV, about multiple person's POV, and also dual person's POV. So for dual person's POV, like I said, is mainly used for romance, to write the person falling in love 1 and person falling in love 2, and how they don't see eye to eye, or why they see eye to eye on something. And you can also do multiple POVs for, say, thrillers, or different thrillers or horror or whatever. Maybe you're showing the boogeyman's point of view, you're showing the other person's point of view. Like, you just have so many people but I did that for my YA romance, and you can actually, find out more about that. Next is the third person POV. There's also the second person POV, but I'm not going to go deep into that just yet. Let's do the third person's POV first. So for the third person's POV, there are similarities with the first person POV in the fact that, okay, yes, you're writing somebody's story, but this time around, there is someone else telling the story from their own view. Now, there is a limited third person's POV, and there is the omniscient third person's POV. Now, the limited third person's POV is if there is this, invisible narrator, or the author themselves is just narrating the story. So, say for instance, I am going to be limited if I am telling the story of, say, I'm telling the story of how my friend went to the store and how she did something and how she reacted and how she's so fond of doing something like that. It is limited in the sense that, I am just seeing things from the way I would see it. I'm very, very subjective to how I naturally react to our own actions and all that. So she might have, shouted at the bookseller because maybe a roach jumped into her front, but I am looking at it from behind. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, you know what? Let's bring an example into this whole situation. So I'm going to be making use of my bookmarks. These bookmarks will represent the point of views. This is going to be very practical. Maybe this video might actually be long. So we are going to have 3 bookmarks who are going to be representing 3 different individuals. So, these 2 are similar. I'm just going to have to change one. Let's see. Yeah, I got one here. Yeah, so this is different. So now this is first person's POV. Something is happening here in front. This person is seeing it from the way they see things. This is first person's POV. Hey, there's an accident on the road. Oh my gosh, blood is bleeding. Blah, 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 blah. I am the EMT guy. This is the EMT guy. And I rush into the scene and I start dragging the bodies and everybody is screaming and I'm telling them, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Now, this EMT guy is talking from his own point of view, trying to tell people to calm down and he's trying to help somebody out there. But now, this limited person POV, this one, limited third person, this is limited third person, is telling us the story of what is happening right now after the accident happened. He was standing and he was watching the accident happen, and all of a sudden, there's this guy that just came out of nowhere. That's this EMT guy. He came down from the bus and he started shouting at people, clear away, clear away, clear away. And he did this, did that. So now the story is someone else telling this person's story, but looking at it from their own limited perspective. So this person was there for them to be able to tell this person's story. Am I making sense? So this is first person, this is third person, limited POV, that is just seeing things from what they want to say. Sorry, the third one has fallen down. And then we have this limited omniscient POV. So let's say, for instance, if this person is not God or the author that feels like he knows everything happening around, there could be 2, 3 ways to being the omniscient narrator. Now, this is what most newbie writers use because they know everything that is going to happen to these other people. So now, there are either 2 things that would have happened for this person to tell the story. Either this person has interviewed these 2 people and asked them, what happened? How did you feel? Why did you react the way you reacted? Now this person is going to tell us the story and say, person 1 got to the scene and had to scream at people because they were not listening to him. But person 2 was looking at person 1 and wondering why they are so arrogant and feel like they are the ones that can solve everything because they felt person 1 was too loud or too scared or whatever. They feel person one doesn't know or understand their job. So person two decided to, brush aside person one and say, no, I have this covered. That's one way, if you know everybody's side of the story, because, you just have everybody at the palm of your hand and they can tell you everything they know about what is happening. But now there's the other third person's point of view. This is the same omniscient, that is like the person that knows everything that is happening, that would happen, and that might happen. So this person says the story in such a way that it's like, oh, and this person bent to pick it up, but never knew that after that something wrong is going to happen, and blah 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 blah. So with this brief demonstration of mine, I hope I've been able to explain to you and describe to you the 3 main POVs used when writing stories. So for the third person, you make use of she, he, they, them, theirs. For the first person, you use I, my, me, I, my. Now, there's a second person POV, and the second person POV actually involves you talking directly to the person you're telling the story. Like the character is either telling the story directly to the person you're telling the story to, or the narrator or the author is directly telling the story. So most poems are written in second person POV. There are some short stories written in second person POV, but to write in second person POV throughout a full-length novel, that is art. And make it make sense. That is going to be art. So second person POV goes like, you woke up this morning. It sounds kind of hypnotic, yeah, because you're trying to make somebody feel like, yes, you are doing this or you did this. It's like you're trying to, play with their mind. So you're like, you woke up this morning, you picked your bag, you never knew you were going to walk down that road and never return home. You were going to go on a journey that will take you through life. And when you realize this, you try to run back in, but some unseen forces were holding you back from going into the house. You screamed, but no one can hear you. You shouted, you called for the gods, your fathers, your mothers. None of them would listen to your cry because yes, you. It is your time to go out into the world, to do something great, to write that story, to put it out there in the world. Now, would you take that chance? You ask yourself this question: would I take this chance? And then you trudged on with your bags on your shoulder. You were running, walking, using every strength in you to ensure you achieved this goal. And you kept going at it even when it felt like you were going to fall, when it felt like you were too tired to move a muscle or even move a capillary within your bloody system. But now, you are here watching this video. You haven't hit the subscribe button and you've learned a lot about POVs. In your heart of heart, do you think that is fair? Do you think switching to the next video without hitting the subscribe button is actually fair? Do you think not commenting or engaging with this video is actually fair? You ask yourself, how many seconds would it take me to hit the subscribe button? And you decide to hit it. And then you scream to yourself, yes, I did it. Yes, I did it. And I'm going to tell other people about this awesome channel that actually shares information on book publishing and publishing tips. That, my friend, is the end of this lesson on POVs. Thanks a lot for hitting the subscribe button, sharing, and also hitting the like button. Let me know what other topics you would like for me to discuss or share with you on this channel, because I love talking about book publishing, writing, and sex education. Until next video, please keep reading and keep writing. Happy writing!